Well, greetings again. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt, and I would like to talk this morning on something about the wrong things that are going on in orthodontics today. I mean, things that could be corrected. I am not sorry that I did not get to go to orthodontic school. In fact, I thank God that I didn't go, because I would have been taught things that weren't right, that weren't correct. And it's the thing about human beings and the thing about animals the same way. We can take a baby elephant and chain him to something that he can't break and let him use that while he's growing up, use that. And he finds out he can't break this thing, and then from then on during that elephant's life, he believes he cannot break loose from just to being tied with something he could break very easily. Now, if I had gone back to orthodontic school and had been taught that the adult bone could not be moved and you couldn't do anything, then I would have believed it, I guess. But I'm kind of doubtful of whether I would have or not, because I would have checked it out. I do believe that I couldn't, if I could see it done. And so I did not learn that I couldn't do a lot of different things. And they come up with something that was, they said, well, you can't do this. I tried it and I could do it, like moving teeth into a knife-edge ridge of bone. If you have somebody wearing a bridge for years, the bone comes up and the cortical bone grows up, and it's just a thin knife-edge ridge. And they say, well, you can't move teeth in it, but you can move them in there. I mean, you just take time, and the teeth bring their bone with them. It takes a heck of a long time to close a space where there's a knife-edge ridge, or it takes longer to do it. And I've got many videos showing that that can be done. And then, of course, they said you couldn't expand the jaw of an upper lower person, of an older person in the upper lower. You can do that. And we've got oodles of cases where we have expanded the upper jaw. And I could do it with a little wire called a Big Daddy wire. You can get all the lateral expansion you want. But you have to learn how to go in and put root torque in there to keep the roots going out with the crown, because you're pushing the crown out. And if you just push the crown out, it's going to do like that. And people say, well, this Big Daddy doesn't work. It leaves the teeth out like this. It doesn't carry the torque. But we say, put rectangular wire in it that's got torque. It will bring the roots of the teeth out with the crown. And you can expand anybody's teeth, and you can go out with the teeth going out straight up and down if you put this torque in there. Now the torque, I found a simple way to test where to put torque. Say if you've got a lower molar here and you want to expand it, well, the molar, if you push on it or just pull on it, it will lean like this. The root is down in the bone, and the part in the bone will rotate, and the root will go lingual instead of buccal. And you can put buccal root torque, say if we're trying to torque these roots out over this way, and the crown is down here, and we're going to expand this like this, it would move the tooth in that direction. I can't bend my hand any further back. The roots actually would go in the opposite direction that the crown would be going in. So you've got, if you go do much torquing or much expansion of the root of the teeth, you have to put a rectangular wire in with the Big Daddy arch. Like if I look the bracket on the crown of a tooth, it was like this, it'd be sticking out like this. And if I wanted to crown this is the crown, then I'd bend it like that to get the root out. Now, that would be buccal root torque. So I'd have to take the arch wire and twist it down where it's bent like this. Now you pull it up, and now the bracket slot is like that, but the wire's this way. You put the wire in there, and it'll tip the tooth in that direction. Now, the arch wire doesn't have strength enough laterally to pull the teeth out laterally, but you can put a Big Daddy arch wire on there and have all the lateral force you want, and it'll pull the crown out whether the root goes or not. But we put the torque in the root, and so it will, you do this way. That's the way I want the torque to be going. So I'm going to have to take this wire. The bracket slot stays the same. Now you bend it progressively to where it's leaning like this. Now we come back here and raise it, bend the wire up, and it doesn't go, it's still wanting to do this. And it's going to try to do the tooth this way. If you put the wire in there and don't put something big to keep it from going, the crown is in the air. Instead of you getting buccal root torque, you're going to get lingual crown torque. Now, a lot of people don't understand that. There's some good people that try to give stuff on putting this big wire on the outside. You can do any expansion you want to with this wire. It'll expand anything. I don't care how old they are or how young or whatever it is. You put it on, it expands in this fashion. Now it'll bring the teeth in from the outside a little bit. You can expand it and it'll take the protrusiveness of this and broaden it out that way. Now, it is much better if you put a palatal separator, if you can get something in between here and get this to open the palate up. And I found out you could go in and put pressure between the front teeth, and I've been able to expand or pull the sutures and expand it that way on people into some of them in their 40s with that. Now, if you put pins in the bone structure and put pressure between the pins that you've got in the bone, it'll give you a better chance to put more force to help get the sutures apart. Now, this type of expansion, it just goes like this. And now you can bring the teeth together after you get the space out here, and you'll bring the protrusiveness in, something like that. So palatal separators are good. But do not buy a palatal separator and have the lab do just the 6-year molar. It'll bring that. If you band it good, it'll come out this way. But the rest of the teeth will lean in this way. And it'll make the roots go and reduce your airway instead of enlarging it. Every palatal separator ought to have bands on all the teeth that you work on. And then it will carry the teeth out in this way. And this is where you see people breathing through their mouth all the time. They do not think that the tongue will widen the lower arch out, but it does. And that's why you have so many cross bites. The tongue, somebody breathing through their mouth constantly, the tongue sitting in the lower arch will spread it out. There's no way you can breathe air in under the tongue if it's that way. If a person swallowing correctly and chewing correctly and breathing correctly, nature tends to straighten the teeth and put the teeth where they really want to go. And I've shown that in follicular movement of teeth. In places where we've got people that are real big, broad-faced people marry somebody with this little skinny, thin head up here, and the person they marry and their children, some of them frequently will have the big tooth, and it's put over here within the bony structure of the thin tooth person. And it is absolutely ridiculous to think that you ought to put the teeth on everybody just because God gave you 32 teeth. There's no reason. God didn't mix us up. But in America, the people are mixed up every kind of thing you can think about in there. And this happens. Now, what I'm going to say is that this is a wrong way of thinking, that we shouldn't take out. We should remove teeth, and it works good. And I'm going to hush up, but these are some things that are on my mind that people are not doing, that they need to be done. It's hard to teach somebody something that they already know. And if they think they know you've got to save all these teeth, you can't change their mind. It's hard to change it, but unless the person really wants to, then you can come and reteach it. So thank God I didn't go to orthodontic school and be taught things that were wrong. I just thought it out myself, and everything I've found works. And I've got a system of correcting things from the cradle to the grave. If you follow these videos and study all, we've got 900 of them, that they'll cover most everything you can think about in orthodontics. And I ain't going to be around here all this long, but I've tried to get that across. And I tell you, pediatric dentists ought to be taught to do orthodontics. Everybody that does work on teeth ought to know about orthodontics. So this is my feelings. So thank you for watching. I'm sorry if I step on anybody's toes, but this is the thing that I strive to pass on to people here. So I'm going to say goodbye and hope you'll watch our channel now.